Man, got to start with acknowledging the crowd. Super appreciative of everybody that came out. Knew it was something we wanted to do was get back down here, and something we were really thankful the Gazelle group and Wake Forest agreed to come down here and for everybody to show up. And they tried their best to will us in that first half, and even in the second half, just couldn't string enough quality basketball together to match their energy that they tried. And a lot of things you can point to. I think we knew going into the game that when they beat people or almost beat people, that points off turnovers and second chance points were a big part of the game. When they lost to Michigan by 1, they had 40 points off turnovers and second chance points. When they almost beat Tech in the Bahamas, the same scenario. And then Oklahoma did a really good job the other night of not doing that. But we weren't fundamental enough. We got sped up in some different areas, and just couldn't make the simple play. Pass fake, ball fake, catch the ball with two hands, put two hands on the ball, and there's a lot of things you can point to and look to, but that's a big one. 17 turnovers for a team that we had been a very low turnover team up until this point. And then just not doing a good enough job on juke. You just can't let a good player like that get going. Gave him a couple of easy catch and shoot threes to start the game, and fortunately he got in a little bit of foul trouble, and that hurt him in the first half as well. But just didn't do a good enough job in those areas. And if you're going to turn it over 17 times and not shoot the ball very well, then you got to be elite defensively. And we had some moments and some stretches where we were good, but not good enough in the second half.
We'll take questions for Honor first, and then we'll circle back with Coach.
So, Honor, you kind of went on a mini run there in the first half with yourself. What was kind of going right there? The crowd was getting into it. What does that feel like?
It's cool to have the crowd galvanized behind you. That was definitely cool. And I like how we always use the term front runner. I like how the crowd isn't, even when we're down, they're going crazy. They're still let's go Mountaineers. So that definitely enhanced our play and my play in that moment. I just wish, I could have stretched it out for a longer period of time, and I know my teammates feel the same way.
Honor, teams continue to face guard you, and you were able to knock down a couple of those threes with them in your face. What's that next step of breaking that face guard defense?
I just think getting catches. I think sometimes I'm not physical trying to get the ball. So if they're face guarding me, I try to keep going out like near half court, and we've tried to talk about not doing that as much, trying to get into my defender and get the ball. I don't even think they were really face guarding me that much today. Obviously they were keyed in on me when I caught it, but I just think at games like these I got to make shots because these are some of the most open looks I'm going to get probably this far I've gotten. So definitely got to hit them. So that was kind of frustrating for me personally.
Honor, not only the turnovers you all suffered, but it seemed like they got a lot of deflections.
Mm-hmm.
They interdicted, some of the passing, things like that. Was that difficult? How much did you feel like that disrupted the entire offense?
That's what they want to do. We talked about that was the main focal point emphasis when we were watching film before the game. Coach always wrote on the board ball fakes, pass fakes, shot fakes. And I don't think we did a good job of utilizing that in the game, including me. I think we got sped up a little bit at times, and that's when, we're vulnerable for deflections and steals that they've gotten, get out in transition. That's what they want to do. They want to push and get out in transition. So we played into their hands a lot in the game, and that kind of separated them throughout the game, and I think that's what halted us a little bit today.
All right, they say shooters have to have confidence. You guys started, I think, 0 for 12 from 3, but then you obviously hit those few, and then Jasper hit one. Mm-hmm. I guess how hard is it to stay confident when it's not happening early?
It's not hard with this team and this coaching staff. Even at the end of the game just now when I shot like 4 in a row and missed them all, even coach was like, keep shooting. So I think with the confidence that they have in me, it's only right I have that same confidence in myself. And obviously I put the work in. I'm always in the gym with the coaches, with the managers. So, you got to trust your work no matter if the ball's falling or not. And he always says, you can't control that, but you can control the work you put in. So obviously I'll be better next game. And, yeah, you got to stay confident in your work. And I think I do a good job of that.
I got a defensive question for you. Everyone's asking about offense.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the plays Wake Forest made down the stretch a lot of those like pick and roll action. You know, when guys are switching, sometimes you get switched on a guy, maybe you don't want to get switched on to. I mean, that's what the pick and rolls are designed for. The plays they made down the stretch with the pick and roll, was it tough to defend, or just kind of what was going on?
I don't want to discredit them. Obviously, they played a great game. I think we made a lot of internal mistakes within the team. We tried to make changes throughout the course of the game, especially towards the end, and we just botched them. Like I botched one with Chance. We were supposed to switch out, and they get a slip to the basket, and that's on me. So, and we talked about that right before it happened. So it's not on the coaching staff. It's on us as a team. And I think we had a lot of mishaps throughout the game where we're just botching the coverage or not getting the coverage out of our mouths, or maybe it's too low. So again, I don't want to discredit them. They played a great game, but I think we made some mental mistakes that we'll probably watch on film and he'll clip up that we'll see that kind of hindered us defensively.
Okay, we'll let Honor go, and we'll close questions for Coach.
Appreciate it.
Questions?
Coach.
Defensively with them, I mean, obviously, like Kevin said, deflections was a big thing. Turnovers, you mentioned 17 turnovers. Was there something specifically that they were doing defensively, or is it just them just being so active on your all's end of the floor offense?
Yeah, no, they're aggressive defensively. They put 2 on the ball when you set ball screens. They double team in the post, you know, and then they, like Honor was saying, typically like people won't even kind of rotate off Honor, but they were full rotating off him and scrambling around and using their athleticism and getting deflections and just they hurry you up a little bit in situations where you shouldn't be hurried, you know, and again, it's a credit to them and something that we'll have to learn from and get better at when we're playing against a team that plays that way, you know, next time.
Coach, we talked in the other Charleston about Xavier just hitting a bunch of shots where you thought you played pretty good defense. Seemed like that wasn't quite the case tonight. You weren't happy with some of your execution there?
Yeah, no, not at all. You know, we just didn't execute at the level defensively that we needed to, and they do a good job of moving pieces. They're not stationary, but within that movement, there were certain areas that we felt like we could help from, and we just didn't execute it for long stretches. And again, it's like anything else. You'll look at the film and you'll be like, oh, we played this one right. And you either made them take a tough shot or you turned it over. We didn't play this one right, and they scored a layup or shot a wide open 3. You know, and then defensively, there's not a lot of defense that's capable of when you throw it to them at half court, and they go and lay it up in your hole. You know, like that's part of the stress that our defense was put under as well was. You know, just the turnovers that led to easy baskets for them, and then, you know, lack of execution and lack of urgency and awareness to get to a great player like Juke Harris. I mean, he shot, you know, we talked about it obviously and just didn't execute it. So I have to, you know, watch it on film and, you know, get better at it. And, you know, I think there's a few different ways to look at it. You know, I think first, from a coaching standpoint, you got to look at, like, are you even doing it hard enough? So are you doing what we're asking you to do hard enough? That's where you usually start. And then I think the next part in the checklist is like, okay, then you change personnel to see if the personnel can do what you're asking them to do. And then there is, as a coach, which coaches sometimes have a hard time taking onus of it, if you're doing it hard enough and you're trying it with different people and it's still not working, then maybe you got to try to do something else.
Coach, 52, you're out of your shots tonight, 52 shots, more than half came from Chance and Honor. Trayson doesn't take a shot the entire game. I don't know if Lorian took a shot in the second half. You know, Harlan got one early in the second half, only takes 3. I mean, in a sense, were you kind of running out of options as that second half was wearing on? And are you disappointed there wasn't some more aggressive, I guess, play from some of those other guys?
Yeah, I wouldn't say if it was a lack of aggression on their part, you
Right.
know. Again, I think when you turn it over 17 times, you're obviously limiting your opportunities to shoot the ball, you know. And I actually thought, especially to start the game, I actually thought we had really good looks
Yeah.
to start the game that just didn't go down. That's part of basketball, you know, and that's kind of what I shared with our guys, and it's always been my philosophy. It's always been kind of our identity that despite the fact that maybe you're not shooting it well or somebody's not shooting it, if you just take care of the ball and execute defensively, you can't do both. You can't give up 41 points in the second half and turn it over and miss shots and miss free throws. You can't do all of that, you know. But you can actually do one or the other, you know. And that's just something that I think we've got to continue to learn and grow from. And again, you know, you're playing a lot of different guys, you know, right now in different rhythms, and that's where I've got to do a better job too of finding combinations that, you know, like we finally found a little combination there in the tail end of the second half that was able to get stops and score, you know, and do to them what they did to us. We started turning them over, and we got some runouts, and we got easy baskets in transition. So I don't think it's a matter of like other people being aggressive or you know, not aggressive. I mean, in some cases, these guys had limited offensive opportunities because their defense kept them off the floor.
Did you like the way your team rebounded the basketball?
I did, you know, and it kept us in the game in the first half. Obviously, I thought we did a better job in the first half than we did in the second half. I thought that was the reason, obviously, with Honor getting going a little bit, but I thought that was the biggest reason we were able to stay in the game in the first half was we did a really good job on the offensive glass, and obviously there were lots of misses to go get them on. So, and that's what you got to do. You know, again, you got to control what you can control. You can't always control the ball going in, but you can certainly control if you go try to get it or not.
You mentioned numerous times early on in the season how mature Amir has been. They're kind of early into the second half. He got that fourth foul and you kept him out there. Is that maturity the reason why you kept him out there?
Well, I think at that point in time, you know, you're not running out of time per se, because as we know, like we've all watched basketball games where crazy stuff can happen, especially with a 3-point shot, and even with as bad as we played in the chaos. I mean, I think we still got it to a 5-point game with, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes to go, and so, but it did feel like if we were going to make a move, it was time there. So having him on the bench, you know, like it just kind of felt like it's now or never. And we had to kind of find a group, again, that was playing with enough intensity defensively and enough pace. And we got in the bonus, and obviously he draws fouls and he can get in the paint. So it was more of like it's now or never than anything else.
Ross, what did you see the first 4 or 5 minutes of the second half?
I saw us turning the ball over and having defensive breakdowns that allowed them to get catch and shoot wide open threes.
Anything else?
20 offensive rebounds, only 15 second chance points. You mentioned some of that can just be happenstance. Do you have a goal on that? Hey, every X offensive rebounds we'd like to have?
Not necessarily, and not necessarily. And again, we did have 5. We had 5 team offensive rebounds, so that's a little not all the way skewed because you do get it. I mean, obviously you get to take it on the baseline out of bounds, but it's not necessarily like you got it. And again, I have to go back and look at all of them. But some of them, I felt we got offensive rebounds and we kicked it out, and we had. I mean, those are some of your best times to shoot threes, you know, because the defense is scrambling. And in particular, I thought like Honor got a couple early in the game off of offensive rebounds and shot faked and got pretty good looks. But yeah, if you're gonna work as hard as you do to go get it off the glass, you certainly want to convert them at a higher rate than that.
Coach, in regards to just these last couple of non-conference games before you start Big 12 play, how much of this is just a learning curve, but also trying to build confidence with your guys leading into Big 12 play?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. You know, I think confidence is something that's really hard to quantify and measure. You know, I think what you better be doing in situations like this is you better be learning how, you know, you can win these games despite maybe not playing as well as you would have liked to. or shooting the ball as well you would like to. And you got to take ownership in it. And again, like from a coaching standpoint, you gotta be open and willing to, take ownership in it yourself. You're asking your players to take ownership in it. You got to take ownership in it. You can't deflect it all on them. We got to do a better job. We got to have better plans. We got to better put people in better position to execute on both ends of the floor. And I think it's about learning and growing more so than gaining confidence. Because again, you get in these type of environments against a quality opponent, and you gotta learn how to beat these type of teams in these type of environments.
Coach Harlan hasn't really produced much since that Pitt game. What's he need to do to kind of get going again?
I think you just gotta continue to just simplify the game. Keep the game simple. I thought. He had five rebounds in 12 minutes. Got a little sped up against the double team there to start the second half, and then just got to continue to get better with his ball screen coverages and just simplify the game. Keep it simple. He's got good hands, he's got good feet, he's got good touch. We got to do a better job, and that's where I can help him. I can help him putting them in better positions to play to his strengths and away from his weaknesses.
How much of that, Coach, is just trying to get the ball to the paint in general? You had some early success down there. You got Duke Harris, 2 early fouls kind of took him out of the game. But it seemed like they really tightened up on the perimeter as the game went on. So how much of simplifying the game does come to getting the ball down low? Yeah, some of it is, some of it's a combination of things. You've got to shoot the ball better, and that opens up the interior, and so some of that is they were closing out short on some of our, drivers, and that's where you just got to continue to improve, and we got to continue to improve and make simple plays. And they're not just going to let you, just get the ball right into, where you want it all the time. But that's where you just got to look at it. And again, I got to do a better job. It's easy to point the finger at the players. It's easy to blame them. But I got to take accountability too. And I've got to do a better job of putting these guys in better positions, again, where they can play to their strengths and try to keep them away from having to play to some of their weaknesses.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone.